June 5, 1944, 11:47 p.m. A German radar operator stationed on the coast of Normandy sees something on his screen that makes his blood run cold. You see on the surface, there was something abnormal that would change the entire course of the war. It was a dot. Not one dot, not 10, hundreds, maybe thousands, moving across the English Channel in a formation so massive, it looks like the screen itself is malfunctioning. The largest invasion force ever assembled in human history is heading straight toward him, and he has less than 1 hour before they hit the beach. This is the story of Operation Overlord, the moment when 156,000 Allied troops were spotted crossing the Channel, and the desperate, chaotic, absolutely insane 60 minutes that followed. Let me set the scene for you. By June of 1944, Nazi Germany had fortified the entire coast of France. We're talking about the Atlantic Wall. 2,400 miles of bunkers, machine gun nests, artillery positions, mines, tank traps, and obstacles designed for one purpose: making any beach landing a bloodbath. The Germans know the Allies are coming. They don't know where or when. Hitler has his best general, Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox himself, commanding the coastal defenses. Rommel has been preparing for months. He's placed millions of mines along the beaches and installed underwater obstacles to rip apart landing craft. He even positioned entire panzer divisions within striking distance of the coast. But what makes this truly scary is simply this: Rommel was right all along. He keeps telling Hitler that the Allies have to be stopped at the beach, not inland or anywhere else, right there, on the sand. Because if they establish a foothold, if they get off those beaches, Germany loses the war. So when that radar operator sees the largest fleet in human history approaching in the middle of the night, he knows exactly what's at stake. Everything. The entire outcome of World War II could be decided in the next few hours. Little did the Germans know what they were seeing. It's not the full picture, not even close. What is coming next would blow whatever expectations that you had. That radar contact the Germans picked up, it's real. 156,000 troops on 6,939 naval vessels are crossing the English Channel. But the Allied commanders knew they would be spotted. You can't hide an invasion force that size. It's literally impossible. So they didn't try to hide it. They did something way more insane. The Allies launched the largest military deception in history, Operation Fortitude, and it's still working, even as the real invasion fleet crosses the Channel. Here's what the Germans are seeing on their radars and intelligence reports: massive troop buildups near Calais, 150 miles northeast of Normandy, entire army groups, tank divisions, supply depots, radio chatter indicating a 1 million-man invasion force preparing to strike at Pas de Calais. There's just one problem. None of it is real. The tanks, inflatable decoys, the army bases, movie sets, the radio traffic, scripted broadcasts from a handful of operators. The Allies even created an entire fake army, the 1st United States Army Group, and put General Patton in command of it. Because German intelligence knew Patton, they respected him, they feared him, and they were convinced he would lead the main invasion. So when the real invasion fleet gets spotted heading toward Normandy, the German high command faces an impossible choice. Is this the main attack? Or is this a diversion for the real invasion at Calais? They have 60 minutes to decide, and their decision would cause a great shift in where they stand in the war. The radar operator makes the call. The information goes up the chain of command. Within minutes, German officers all along the Atlantic Wall are scrambling, air raid sirens are blaring, troops are rushing to defensive positions, artillery crews are loading shells. This nightmarish scenario was unfolding in real time. Nobody can reach the one person who can authorize moving the panzer divisions: Adolf Hitler. Hitler is asleep at his residence in Bavaria, 500 miles away from Normandy, and his standing orders are absolutely insane. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is allowed to wake him up, not for anything. His staff is genuinely terrified of disturbing him. So you have this absurd situation where the largest invasion in human history has been detected. German forces are watching thousands of ships approach their coastline, and the person who controls the armored reserves that could actually stop the invasion is sleeping, and nobody will wake him up. The field commanders are losing their minds. Rommel isn't even there. He's in Germany celebrating his wife's birthday because German intelligence predicted the weather would be too bad for an invasion. They were partly right. The weather is terrible, which is exactly why the Allies chose this date. The Germans weren't expecting it. Some German officers start moving troops on their own authority. Others hesitate, still convinced Normandy is a feint. The confusion is spreading through the entire command structure. And then, the naval bombardment starts. At 5:50 a.m., just before dawn, the Allied naval fleet opens fire. We're talking about 7 battleships, 23 cruisers, and over 100 destroyers, unleashing a barrage so massive it can be heard in England, 100 miles away. The German positions on the coast are getting absolutely hammered. Thousands of tons of high-explosive shells are raining down on bunkers, gun positions, and defensive structures. The entire coastline is shaking. Soldiers in the bunkers are experiencing something beyond comprehension. Continuous explosions, darkness, smoke, the walls cracking around them. And they still don't know if this is the real invasion or a diversion. By 6:30 a.m., the first wave of Allied troops hits the beaches. Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juneau, Sword. 5 separate landing zones, all hitting simultaneously. 23,000 paratroopers have already dropped behind German lines, creating chaos in the rear areas. The German defenders are fighting hard, especially at Omaha Beach, where American forces are pinned down and taking horrific casualties. Machine gun fire, artillery, mortars. The water is turning red. Landing craft are being destroyed before they even reach the sand. But the Germans are fighting without their armored reserves. The panzers that could have pushed the Allies back into the sea are still waiting for orders. Hitler finally wakes up around 10 a.m., 6 hours after the invasion started. And even then, he's still not convinced this is the main attack. He refuses to release the panzer divisions. By the time Hitler finally authorizes moving the tanks, it's too late. The Allies have established beachheads. Engineers are clearing obstacles. Reinforcements are pouring ashore. The Atlantic Wall, the supposedly impenetrable fortress, has been breached in less than 12 hours. The first hour after the radar spotted the invasion was the most important hour of the whole war. If the Germans had sent their tanks in right away, if they had acted quickly instead of waiting, if Hitler had been awake to decide what to do, D-Day could have failed completely. But the deception worked, the confusion worked, the timing worked. Everything the Allies gambled on paid off. By the end of D-Day, 156,000 Allied troops were ashore in France. Casualties are heavy, around 10,000 killed or wounded, but the invasion succeeded. The second front has been opened, and Nazi Germany is now fighting a 2-front war it cannot win. The largest troop spot in modern history led to 60 minutes of chaos, confusion, and hesitation that changed the course of World War II. Because war isn't just about who has the bigger army or the better weapons. It's about timing. It's about deception. It's about making your enemy doubt themselves at the critical moment. The German radar operator who made that initial contact was right. He saw exactly what he thought he saw. The largest invasion force in history, heading straight toward him. But by the time anyone acted on that information with real commitment, it was already too late. The Allies were on the beaches. The war had turned, and within 11 months, Germany would surrender. 1 radar contact, 60 minutes of confusion, and the entire trajectory of human history changed forever.